So let me show you two advanced stereo imaging ideas. The first is a little bit simpler and the second's a bit more involved. But it's worth noting throughout all of this, it's much easier to hear on headphones compared to, say, monitors or laptop speakers. Take a look at this and see if you can guess what's happening. LFO1 is modulating the pan for oscillator A and oscillator B. But importantly, this modulation is happening in opposite directions. See how those modulations are opposite? If they went in the same direction, you hear it as an obvious auto-pan effect, and it doesn't sound as thick or as full. In fact, if I slow down the rate, it's even more obvious. Whereas if they modulate in opposite directions, you still get stereo movement, but it's a much more balanced sound, as broadly speaking, oscillator A panning one way is balanced by oscillator B panning the other way. In this second example, notice how the synths are on the sides of the stereo image, but that the reverb is in the center. It's cool, right? And so, how did I configure this? The reverb, nice and simple. Simply choose a mono or central reverb. In the case of Serum, that's this plate reverb. Notice. Hall is wide, but plate is central. And then things get a bit more tricky with the synths. I wanted them to be very definitely wide on the sides of the mix and not in the center and the sides. And in addition, I wanted that thick unison detuned sound. By default, almost no synth will do this. Almost every unison, if you want, say, 4 voices, will have some of those voices somewhere towards the center. In this case, I wanted them very definitely on the sides. To do this, I did a bit of a trick. Check this out. In total, there are 4 voices. Oscillator A sends 2 to the left, and oscillator B sends 2 to the right. You can see those pan controls. But an important detail here is to first of all make that unison mono before you pan it. Notice a mono unison, but by default, the unison will be wide. And so in the case of Serum here, to make this unison mono, in other words, to not spread out the voices in the stereo image, adjust the unison width to 0, the left column for oscillator A and the right column for oscillator B.